And breaking new details on the joint U.S.-Israeli operation in Iran. Iran's supreme leader was killed in the attack, along with dozens of high-ranking officials. And now an Iranian diplomat telling the United Nations Security Council that hundreds of civilians were killed and wounded in the attack. Thank you for staying up late with us. I'm Victoria Sanchez. We are following the latest developments as they unfold overseas. Here is what you need to know right now. President Trump says this wide-scale attack killed Iran's top leader. The president is now urging Iranians to, quote, take back their country. More than 200 people have been killed since the bombing started. And the president says the attack will carry on throughout the week. Iran has warned any attack would be met with greater force than what followed last summer's Operation Midnight Hammer strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. While addressing the nation, President Trump says Iran ramped up their nuclear ambitions, bringing us to this moment.
They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland.
Here at home, the reaction is split down party lines. Republicans commending the president for his swift action in the Middle East, while Democrats in Congress demand clarity on the president's objectives.
This sounds an awful lot like it could be Iraq War 2.0. This is war. This is major. These are major combat operations. And under the Constitution, that means Congress must vote on whether or not we send American troops to war.
Republican leadership issued statements of support. House Speaker Mike Johnson says, quote, today Iran is facing the severe consequences of its evil actions. Senate Majority Leader John Thune saying, I commend President Trump for taking action to thwart these threats. Growing concern tonight on what comes next. Will we see more strikes against the U.S. military bases in the Middle East? Let's take a look at this map. This is where the United States has multiple military bases throughout the area in the region that Iran already targeted in response, or at least are in range of Iranian missiles. That includes bases in the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Qatar, which have already been attacked or had missiles in their airspace. U.S. naval forces are positioned in the Persian Gulf and Eastern Mediterranean for attack and defense purposes. And residents of major cities across the U.S. are reacting to the military action. This is just a few of the protests that we saw in Colorado, Virginia, New York, and right here in the nation's capital. But it wasn't all protesters taking to the streets. This is a look at a handful of celebrations around the globe. Thousands of people waving Iranian flags, rejoicing possible regime change. Celebrations were also seen in Washington, D.C., alongside those against the attack by U.S. and Israeli forces. Our Tom Rousey has been out in the district all evening. He caught up with a group of local Iranian Americans who are celebrating what happened today. Tom.
Saturday night, demonstrators gathered here at the Georgetown waterfront, and they lined Wisconsin Avenue up there. Their message, one of support for what the U.S. and Israel are doing. Saturday night, hundreds took to the streets of Georgetown in support of the attacks against the Iranian leadership. The National Solidarity Group of Iran posted this video of the demonstration on their Instagram. Many in the video are Iranian Americans who live in the United States because of the 1979 Islamic Revolution.
99% of Iranians that you see in America, they came after 1979 and because of 1979.
For the past 47 years, the people of Iran been captured, they've been tortured, they've been executed, they've been jailed.
Thank you, Trump! Thank you, Trump! Thank you, Trump!
Before gathering in Georgetown earlier Saturday, some demonstrators gathered outside the White House.
Our message to President Trump and to the U.S. government is thank you. Thank you for helping end this nightmare of 47 years.
Looks like they all going for constitutional monarchy. The majority of people in Iran are calling for Reza Pahlavi.
Reza Pahlavi, who he mentioned, is the exiled crown prince of Iran who until recently lived outside D.C. in Potomac. Now many hope he will return to Iran as leader. Now, that said, it is still not clear if that will ultimately happen or not. Regardless, I spoke with one expert Saturday night who tells me he expects at least days and maybe weeks more of military strikes before the fighting ends. Reporting in Georgetown, Tom Rousey, 7 News.
We're also keeping our eyes on how the attack overseas is impacting law enforcement. The Department of Defense released a statement to personnel saying, quote, maintain a high state of vigilance and prioritize force protection. Be aware of surroundings at all times. Trust your instincts. If behavior, objects, or a situation seem out of place, it probably is. D.C. police tell us there are no known threats to the district, but MPD is prepared to add officers as needed. And the Secret Service released a statement about how they're monitoring the situation, saying, quote, the public may notice an increased law enforcement and federal presence around U.S. Secret Service protected sites. Any temporary traffic or pedestrian impacts will be communicated by our local law enforcement partners. Tonight, we spoke with an expert who says Iran has tried to go after people here in the U.S. in recent years, and authorities are wise to be on high alert.
They have hired thugs to try to kill opposition figures as well as Israeli diplomats, including American officials that have worked the Iran file. They've tried to do this on multiple occasions. They certainly have the capability. They have the intent. I think for me, the big question is how much has the FBI gotten a beat on this over the years? Have they been able to root that out, and do they have good intelligence?
D.C. isn't the only city on high alert right now. The New York City Police Department says they are monitoring the overseas conflict. On the West Coast, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says the LAPD was stepping up patrols near places of worship, community spaces, and other areas. LA is home to one of the world's largest populations of Iranians outside Iran. New at 11, we are hearing from a local restaurant owner with close ties to Iran. Mike Ovasi and his family owns Amou's Persian restaurant in McLean, Virginia. They have aunts, uncles, and other relatives still in Iran. I spoke to Ovasi after the last major military action in Iran. In early January, he was frantically trying to contact his family amid deadly protests. Today, it's a completely different feeling.
Today was the happiest day in my life for almost all Iranians, because we've been under oppression, a tyranny, and a bunch of thugs running our country. And today was like the best news you can imagine we received. All day we've been crying, joy tears all day long.
Ovasi added these last few months were some of the hardest in his life after thousands of people were killed after widespread protests in Iran. Also new at 11, we're hearing from the exiled son of the toppled Shah of Iran. Tonight, he's sharing a similar sentiment as President Trump, calling for the people of Iran to take their country back.
من از شما می‌خواهم که در حال حاضر
I ask you, for now, to remain in your homes and remain calm and safe. Stay alert and ready to return to the streets for the final action at the appropriate time, which I will communicate to you.
He calls the joint U.S.-Israel attack humanitarian intervention and claims the Islamic Republic is collapsing. The 65-year-old lives in our area and is one of the most prominent Iranian government opposition figures. The question of whether U.S. troops will get involved with this operation is top of mind for many Americans. A former NATO commander told CNN today that right now it's clear Trump is focusing on other methods, and the death of Iran's leader could play a role.
We're trying to do this with air power, sea power and air power. We're not going to put boots on the ground by all accounts. So it really is up to the people of Iran. President Trump's making those points. The loss of the supreme leader, I think, opens some cracks at the top.
We will continue to update you on all the latest on today's military action. Stay with us on air and online at WJLA.com.